lovelies. I hope you are all well. I just realized this has been a heck of a great day, but I forgot something. So, welcome to 1111 True Crime. We're going to be doing a live podcast again today. And we're going to be talking about the murder weapon and the sheath. I'm trying to get live chat going. For some reason, I got booted off. So I'm going to get back so that I can see your comments, as I want this to be very interactive for you. And, oops. We're just not well put together today. Got this. Got this. Hello, June and Lucy Lou, Debbie, Cara, Cherish63, Deborah Martina Lewis, Sassy. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Get ready to deep dive, and I'm going to be showing you some articles, but I also have pinned the links in my description below. So you got to go to the arrow, click that, and you'll find it. Hi, Jilly Lane. So, you guys, this new podcast is working out brilliant because what's happening is giving the viewer a voice. And in doing that, I'm learning a great deal. And one of the things we talked about was the metal button on the actual sheath. Okay? And what happens to DNA when it is on metal? Now, I not only have been a med tech for most of my life, I also am into antiquities. And so I went and got my license as a personal property appraiser. And what does that have to do with any of this is that I had to understand and learn what patina was, which is when the metal begins to oxidize due to its acidic form. So you guys, the 1111 family and subs, brought it up in yesterday's True Crime podcast, all about how you had learned that the DNA, especially touch DNA, being on the metal brass button of this sheath, would not necessarily be there by the time it was allegedly found. And I was wondering who actually performed this private company that performed the DNA testing and all this kind of good stuff. So we're going to dig into the DNA. We're going to dig into the murder weapon. And I'm also going to show you a different version of the K-bar knife that blows my mind because of what the coroner said in the Idaho4. Hi, Sin City. I got your email. I have no idea why I didn't get any of the others, but I got it. So your package and the other person that won, Jamie, both your packages will go out on Monday. So I'm excited to get them to you guys. And Jenny and Susan Rusco both confirmed they got their packages and they had beautiful emails, and they want to say, both of them individually, thank you to all 1111 family that donated and gifted, that filled that box, because without you guys, I wouldn't even do the drawings. Now, we're going to take a break in the month of February. It's Valentine's Day, so forth, short month. We're going to take a break from lighten it up, if you would. And we're going to start that back up in March, where we'll do some more giveaways, okay? All right, are you guys ready to hit this? Like, we have to really hit this hard. Hey, Rachel Smith, I'm going to be showing you a lot of detail. We're going to get into the scientific stuff that we don't want to have to deal with, but it's knowledge we're going to take forward in all of the cases that we work on going forward. So it's worth a little bit of schoolwork for me anyway, and I invite you to tag along. Hi, Tarot Destiny. To embrace this understanding. Hi, El Borek. Okay, I'm gonna take a minute. Borq. Borkia. I'm going to say Borq. El Borq, welcome that you are new here. We love you. I will learn your name. If you want to put away that it is pronounced, I will read that so that hopefully I say it closer than I am now. And no offense, because I don't want to offend anybody. And I do, as all creators, we kind of get our hands slapped every time we mispronounce a name. Sassy says, big love and thanks to all 1111 family members that donate to this channel. And I do. I try to give it back to our 1111s. Like the way I like when somebody's like, I want to support the channel. One of the best ways is gifting memberships rather than a super chat. And I'll tell you why. Because more people benefit, right? Not only are you supporting the channel, but you're also bringing in more people that get a chance to have a voice on our members and so forth. And they love it. They love it. I've got to really concentrate on some of these new names. We're more than this. Hello, I love your name. I had to study it, but we're more than this. I love your name. Thank you. Hey, Tickety Boo. Welcome, everyone. All right. Hey, Jamie. All right. I know I keep saying all right because I've got so much. It's one of those where it's like just jam-packed and it's full of stuff. So let's get over here. Let's see. There we go. Let's start with this knife. You know, I talked a lot about when I listened to Kathy McButt, that's what I call her, even though it's Mabutt, I believe. Maybe it's Mabbit. Mabutt, the lawyer coroner, and she's not even a coroner from my understanding. She's something else, but yeah, she's something else. She visited a crime scene, reached out to the family members to discuss close details with the autopsies, which most of us have heard that the Steve G and Kaylee's mom had stated that there was actual communication directly to a sister and that harsh, very detailed information was given to her and they were just floored. But it talks about, and what are we reading from? Where are we here? Let's get up here. Fox 29 Philadelphia. Here's McButt. My butt. I'm sorry, y'all. Whatever. She's got that whole Stepford wife look to me. Here we go. So it talks about each victim having multiple stab wounds. And I've highlighted the section I really wanted to show you. This is right from my butt. Quote, it had been a really big knife to inflict those injuries and kill 4 people, she said. Gonsalves' father told Fox News Digital in an exclusive interview Sunday that Mabutt described the wounds as tears and, quote, big open gouges. Okay? So when I looked at a K-bar knife, we're going to play this. I want to make sure it's muted. It is. I don't want a copyright strike. I'm going to show you just little pieces of this. Hold on. Wait, let's do this. There we go. Fair use disclaimer. I am just using this to demonstrate an educational point about the difference in sizes of knives. So copyright law, done deal. So this guy is showing you a K-bar kukri machete. Look at this thing, you guys. It is a flat bar K-bar kukri machete. It comes with a sheath. You can see that. He even cuts wood with this thing. It's like an upgrade from a knife, he says. Are you kidding me? You guys, look at this. He's showing how it snaps. And then look at this loop. That's for your belt, right? So it gets a sheath too. And it's black, right? It's going to be hidden. Look at this. He can chop wood with it. It sticks. He cut himself. He even talks about that this is your knife. I wish I should have paused at that moment where he talks about the knife being used, quote unquote, for a jack of all trades. And I was like, stop, dude, stop. And this dude, oh my God, listen. He goes on to say he gave all at his wedding, all the groomsmen, this knife. And he is an affiliate with Amazon. But I'm not here to pick on him. I just was like, oh my God. The rumors that would start on a YouTube thing if anything happens in his neighborhood. All right, so check him out. He is splitting. I just literally spit all over the screen in my cell. Sorry. He's splitting wood. This thing is one. Oh, you're so right. Kara says one scary weapon. This is what I feel may have been used when we're listening to my butt talk about open gouges, ripping. Tarot Destiny says, you're kidding me. That knife was used? I'm saying that that's what I believe could have been used. Yes, it's a K-bar, but it's called a K-bar. I got to say it right. I can't say it right. The guy says it right. He's talking about the little pinhole that you can put like a leather string through and tie it so that it can sling like a machete. He's literally, it could cut bone. Oh yeah, he talks about cutting up game with it. He's quite impressed with it. He's like, this is amazing. He talks about how you can pound on the back of it. So if you wanted to leave a hell of a, I mean, oh, okay, Sin City, you got it, lovely. That weapon is ruthless, so scary, she says. Eliza Kuhn says, looks like it could gut a whale. Lucy Lou says, wow, that's creepy. Interior Family Studios nails it. This knife could be the alleged murder weapon. Now keep in mind, if this is a framing, right, and this is a real weapon, whenever somebody goes to tell a lie, they need to be able to believe it themselves for others to believe it. So if, let's just say that they needed to be able to say it was a K-bar, flat knife, right? Sharp-edged weapon. This fits it. This fits it exactly. So why have we not seen a picture of the sheath? I want to see the sheath. He does show, and I may have missed it. Whoops, let's get him back on screen here. Let's get him back on screen. Let's see. I may have missed it. I did, but let's get back up. I want to see that K-bar compared to it. Where does he do that at? Hold on, my loves. We're getting there. He cuts the wood. Oh, it might have been at the very beginning. I swear to you, he picks up the other K-bar. I seen it with my own eyes. Okay. I don't know, y'all. I should have time-stamped. All right. So, what do you guys feel? Susan Roscoe says that surely wouldn't fit in the knife sheath they claim was there. Well, hello, Deborah Van Winkle. It's been a while. Good to see you. She says blessings to everyone. Tickety Boo, how are you? Says that's evil. I feel you. I feel you. So, I have an idea, you guys. It's hard for me to always scan and pick up exactly what really needs to be called out for these podcasts. And so there's a new way to light it up at 1111 True Crime. You can hit @ and then type the name of a mod, right? Then type your question. Then that mod will see it. And then the mod can copy it and repaste it with your name, and I'll be able to, it'll be called out to me. Or you can put at 1111 Tarot if you want me to read your comment. Kind of like, hey, Jay Buno or whatever. Ah, Dana Lynn, you are so sweet. Yeah, I think this is the one that says it happened around 2 a.m. as well. Oh, this one says between 3 and 4. Let's get the date on this because it was slowly changed, wasn't it? So, this was actually published December 14th, 2022. All right? And this was the article on that date where it said that the crime happened between 2 and 3 a.m. However, it got updated right here, all right, the 15th, the day after. And at that time, they changed the things that they needed to change, and it makes me wonder if they changed the time. Because by December 15th, Kohlberger, I believe, was arrested, wasn't he? Didn't it work that way? It did change. You're right, Susan Roscoe says. Oh, so she changed it up from her first report. Yeah, try to see if we can do that. Not at, yeah, don't do at tarot. Do at 1111 true crime. Okay, let's dig into the real stuff that we got to go really deep into, you guys. This is where we got to put our thinking caps on. Are you ready for that? Get your blanket, get comfortable. We're going to be talking about forensic touch DNA recovery from metal surfaces. So I'm going to pause for a moment, take a little swig to wet my whistle of my sweet tea. And I remembered to unmute. How about that? Forensic touch DNA recovery from metal surfaces, a review. Now I'm going to drag this down for a minute. This link is listed in the description, not the pinned comment, but the description. Here we go. Science, what was it? Science Direct. Forensic touch DNA recovery from metal surfaces, a review. Abstract. Trace evidence such as touch, also known as contact DNA, has probative value as a vital forensic investigative tool that can lead to the identification and apprehension of a criminal. While the volume of touch DNA evidence items submitted to forensic laboratories has significantly increased, recovery and amplification of DNA from these items, especially from metal surfaces, remains challenging. Currently, little is understood with regards to the underlying mechanisms of metal and DNA interactions in the context of forensic science and how this may impact on DNA recovery. Let's go ahead and stop right there, you guys. So the reason we're looking into this is because the only DNA that they have on the knife sheath, what was that about? We'll continue. The only DNA that they have in the Kohlberger case, I think somebody's walking by. Hold on, I'm going to mute for a minute, guys. It happens. It happens. We have dogs. If you're not a dog lover, I say all the time, this may not be your channel. The reason that we are doing this reading is to understand, because the only DNA that is suspect that has been identified in this case, is allegedly Brian Kohlberger's very minute amount of his touch DNA underneath a copper button snap. And it was so minute that when it was sent off to the Idaho State Lab the first time, the ensuing investigation into the DNA came up nothing. There wasn't enough to do it. there wasn't enough. And so we're going to get into where it was sent and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't just an overnight thing, it took a while. So the big question that we all have that we brought up in yesterday's podcast is, once we now understand that DNA and how it reacts, if you will, with the metal patina. Okay, patina is that, like, you've ever heard of a penny turning green, and that's an old penny because it was made of copper. Or green marking on your sink means your copper pipes are literally dumping copper onto your sink. That's actually patina. It's oxidation of the metal, which then decomposes the DNA at a critically higher rate than if it was on maybe a piece of cloth, a piece of wood. And so now we're asking, the question is, with the DNA, because it's from the get-go, it's decomposing and degradation is happening. Would it still be, since it's such a small sample, would it even be there by the time it got to this private independent lab, which in my belief is Otham, which we'll get into. Okay, let's continue. How's everybody doing over here? Hi, Janice Chambers. How are you, love? Good to see you and welcome. Deborah Martina Lewis loves the dog. Susan Rusco says, Mama D, I sent you another email showing the button was planted or painted brown on top of the metal. Okay. Well, even if it was painted on the top of the button, the DNA was said to have been a small amount of DNA underneath the button. So I still would have an issue because only the tops of the buttons are really going to be painted. Okay, let's get into this. An increased understanding of these mechanisms would allow optimization of methods to improve outcomes when sampling these materials. This paper reviews the basis of DNA binding to metal substrates, the merits and limitations of current methods, and future perspectives of improving recovery and application touch DNA from metal surfaces of forensic interest. Introduction. DNA evidence has become an indispensable tool in forensic investigations globally. Due to advances in DNA extraction and amplification technologies, most biological samples can now be tested to yield critical genetic evidence. It is now possible to produce a forensic DNA profile from trace sources such as touch, also known as contact DNA. Forensic laboratories currently receive numerous requests for touch DNA analysis. These relate to property and violent crimes with no blood or semen, in anticipation that touch DNA testing may provide investigative leads. Further, cold cases where body fluids are absent or samples have had extensively degraded are now being submitted for touch DNA analysis. Touch DNA testing is, however, impacted by the difficulty in obtaining not only enough quality DNA to generate a complete DNA profile, but also sufficient material to allow retesting. Touch DNA evidence results from the transfer of biological material to a substrate upon human handling or contact. Touch surfaces may retain genetic material in many forms, including epithelial cells, fragmented cells, nuclei, cell-free DNA, and oh boy, you guys, I just can't say these big words. I'm sorry. Enucleated cornocytes. Corneocytes. These cells are not visible to the naked eye, hence are typically recovered speculatively. At a crime scene, DNA may be present in very low amounts, so there are practical difficulties in recovering enough nuclear or mitochondrial DNA for typing. DNA is routinely recovered from plastic, glass, and fabric surfaces to obtain relevant profiles. However, it has been proven to be more difficult to consistently recover touch DNA from metal surfaces. Sassy says, I think it was originally, and then whenever they sent it magically changed the results, but I agree, should be considered inconclusive. Okay, let's look back up to what Kara said. Oh, I can't find. Oh, don't forget to leave your DNA on the button. Thank you, Kara. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Janice Chambers says the metal itself is reactive to metals present in the human body, thus creating a chemical type reaction that rubs out or disrupts the copper's properties. Excellent. Thank you, Janice. Thank you. Forgive me. Another couple big words here that I can't say real good, so forgive me. Metals are ubiquitous and generally encountered in forensic investigations as part of a built environment, such as window frames and doorknobs, wearable material, such as jewelry, belt hooks, shoe buckles, and eyeglass frames, weapons, such as firearms, ammunition, razors, knives, and screwdrivers, used in commission of crimes or as coatings of other materials. The continued increase in knife and gun-related, and this is out of Australia, New Zealand, and the U.S. crimes, has undoubtedly had a ripple effect on the forensic interest of DNA recovery from such surfaces. Knives, firearms, and spent cartridge casings are frequently encountered evidence types in the instance of hate crimes, terror attacks, homicides, and wildlife poaching. Regarding crimes which involve guns, it may be possible to find touch DNA on the butt, trigger, or slide when handled or operated without wearing gloves. Criminals, while attempting to remove evidence as a precautionary act, may attempt to clean weapons after use, but are probably less likely to wipe the ammunition, which may have been loaded with bare hands. Similarly, a burglar's fingerprints, a source of touch DNA, may, for instance, be left on a brass door handle or aluminum window frame. The recovery and subsequent amplification of DNA is one of the key challenges encountered in the analysis of forensic DNA samples from metal surfaces as a result of nucleic acid metal interactions. Metals have an array of ion sensation and electron impedance that enable the reaction with negatively charged molecules such as DNA. Anisotopelia. I am murdering these words. Anisotopelia suggested that metal cations interact directly or indirectly with the negatively charged phosphate backbone of DNA, as well as the nitrogen and positive atoms of the nucleobase, allowing the formations of ionic bonds that may impede the release of touch DNA from metal surfaces. This interaction may explain to some extent the poor DNA recovery from metal substrates, reported by Wood, etc., and the presently inconsistent success rate between 0 and 26% noted. This review explores the basis of DNA persistent on metal surfaces and attendant impact on the success of recovery and amplification. It scrutinizes the scope and efficiency of current sampling, extraction, and direct amplification techniques and provides relevant recommendations for improving forensic trace DNA recovery from problematic metal surfaces. So it talks about how you go about it, and then it talks about these substrate surfaces. How's everybody doing? Janice says, so much has been poo-pooed in this case. I agree. It is all poo-poo in this case. Good way to put it. Scorpio says that is one scary night. My butt, one bunny surname. Xanimus, how are you doing? Says it is true. They decided not to use the touch DNA as evidence. Is it true? I do not believe that. I believe they are not using the genealogy connection and going to try to hide that. How they got to Brian Kohlberger. And that is a big, big problem. So if they went through an illegal route, okay, to locate Kohlberger, which would be that when they went to, let me break it down this way. To the best of my understanding, this is the summary of the breakdown. The FBI allegedly went through like a form of some form similar to Ancestry.com, where Kohlberger's family had submitted their DNA. Now, there's a box on there that says, yes, police can use my information I'm submitting for criminal casework. Something along that back. And then there's a box that says, I opt out of this. In other words, FBI can't use it. And there's a big, like, what did they do? Because they will not show the whole story. They have been ordered to show part of how they got to where they got, but it's being hidden right now at this point and sealed even from the defense, the entire story of how they came across the idea that Kohlberger was a DNA on the alleged DNA on the button snap. So now we get confused when we're like, why are they collecting Brian's dad's DNA if they already allegedly had some relative that connected to Brian? That don't make sense. And why would they wait till he was in Pennsylvania? There's a lot. There is a great deal of inconsistency, suppression, and shady shit, really, surrounding how they got to Brian being the guy connected to the DNA. And in that, it's even more concerning when it might not even fit the weapon. They have never proved that this murder weapon that they're claiming of this regular K-bar knife actually even fit the wounds on the bodies. We've never heard that. This is going to be a crazy trial. Very shady, says Animus. Susan Roscoe says, Santa Claus said AT didn't need that information. Okay, so she is talking about prosecutor versus the defense. Said that the defense didn't need the information in response to her motion for the notes on the DNA because they weren't using it in trial. So they're not going to use the knife sheath? See, I don't believe that. Not for a minute. Susan says, I believe it was AT second motion for the notes on the DNA that the prosecutor responded that that's in court documents. I believe they're going to use the knife sheath. I believe they're going to try to just stick to the line that the DNA on this knife sheath is Brian. You don't need to know any more than that. I think that's what they're going to pull. I don't think they're going to be like, okay, so we did it through this route where we used this company to connect that this was somebody in the family of this person, and then we narrowed it down because blah, blah, blah. Janice Chambers says, right, Xanimus, right? Did y'all hear the rumor that MPD was looking for the white Elantra and Pullman first early on, then supposedly didn't look at the numerous ones in Moscow? How about that? That's not a rumor. Like, that's true. We showed how many white Elantras at suspect or at least person of interest homes from Jack D to Demetrius's relatives' home that had even the year of that they were looking for. It's crazy. Thank you, Susan. I would appreciate that. She's going to try to find it, even though I see what she's saying. But I'm saying we are seeing the same thing, but we're interpreting it differently. That they're not going to use that. What is that? Are they not going to use the sheath, or are they not going to use the genealogy part? See, that's the difference in where they leave us hanging. And at this moment in time, we don't know. Right, Dana Lynn points out what we were discussing yesterday. She says, yes, Eric Goer sounds like turned over the white Elantra of Brian Kohlberger's. He made a claim that he lives approximately 1,200 feet from Brian Kohlberger's door. Allegedly, he is the driver that dropped off Kaylee and Maddie at their home on the night that they were murdered, on the night of this quadruple homicide. And what, I don't believe in coincidences. If he actually is who the FBI is protecting and won't tell that he's the one that turned in Kohlberger, and then they waited all that time till he gets over in Pennsylvania. What? And also, I believe that this entire thing could be connected back to, in my humble belief system, somebody in high authority. And so when we look at Eric Goer, his wife works for MPD, allegedly. Al Borque says, don't they have a mouth swab to connect the DNA when he got arrested? Exactly. And that's why I think what they're saying, I believe, to the best of my understanding, that what they're saying they're not going to use is a genealogy, because they're going to use a buccal swab, or buccal swab actually, buccal swab to the cheek that they got from Brian when they arrested him. That's what I truly believe. Now she's on a mission. You got a good point, Susan, because there's two different interpretations for a lot of people. And so if we could dig into it and have a better understanding, that's what we're here to do, right? To understand the truth better. Janice Chambers says, absolutely. Dana Lynn says it's on the Moscow Police Department official page with her name, and job duties. Truthfully. So I found this interesting. I really, really do. You guys, allegedly, but my research, to the best of my knowledge, has brought me to Othram out of Texas. And it's called the Woodlands, Texas is a town. This article that we're about to look at, we're only going to grab the bottom part of it, is from December 26, 2003, a few months ago. All right. So we're going to look at quite a bit of it, actually. So Othram is this company that, let me get down here. This is what they do. The best case scenario. Forensic evidence will degrade over time. Don't lose your evidence or allow it to be destroyed by inadequate testing or inexperienced consultants. We work with forensic professionals, medical examiners, and law enforcement globally to achieve results the first time, even when other approaches have failed. Learn how Othram can help you solve your case and support you from crime scene to courtroom. Boom, boom, boom. Well, I find this interesting. As of the December, DNA Solves and Web Sleuths, which is DNA Solves is part of Othram, is teaming up with Web Sleuths on YouTube to drive fundraising and resources to cold case investigations, because Othram is a cold case investigator, basically. That's what they normally worked on. However, allegedly, the first time ever they're working on a fresh case is with Idaho4. And we're going to get into that a little bit. But look at this. This talks about how they're pioneering company behind DNA Solves and the leader in forensic genetic genealogy and advanced DNA sequencing for law enforcement, announcing today a strategic investment in the reorganization and continued independent operation of Web Sleuths, a prominent online community for criminal and unidentified persons investigations. Let's get down here. The new collaboration between DNA Solves and Web Sleuths will amplify efforts to bring critical attention and resources to cases that require financial and community support, featuring regular cases updates and cooperative initiatives on both platforms. Yep, YouTuber is teaming up with these guys. The support from Othram is a game changer for Web Sleuths. This new chapter will empower us to extend our role in the true crime community and deepen our collaborative efforts in uncovering new leads in cold cases, said Tricia, I can't even say her name, Tricia Griffith, Web Sleuth's owner since 2004. The investment and cooperation signify a major advancement in uniting digital community engagement with scientific expertise, creating a formidable force in the pursuit of justice and answers in cold cases. Oh, have a wonderful weekend, Cara. Sassy says if they have his DNA somewhere else, then they planted his DNA or lied about its location. Either way, you can't do that. Then again, they are law, so they think they can do whatever they want. Xanima says, deep dive. Discussion appreciated. Thank you, Mama D and Chatters. Thank you. So you guys, I looked over. I'm like, are these people accredited? Have they went through quality testing that says that they perform things within guidelines that are set by an accredited company of any kind? Do they have credentials that say that Ortham is recommended by an accredited as an accredited facility, right? Here we go. AABB accredited relationship DNA testing facilities. All right. So this is aabb.org. Here we go. And it talks about going through this, becoming accredited. It talks about the portals, accredited member tools, assessors, and then it's got a list of accredited facilities. And this is people that have been through the test and so forth, right? So let's see, blood banks, cellular therapy, relationships. Okay, where is the DNA one? DNA. Okay. This is DNA testing facilities that have met the standards and accreditability standards that are set forth, right? DNA lab centers, NBN, whatever that says, St. Luke's. Let's read through the list. We're looking for an O. Othram, where are you? Not here, you guys. Not here. Is that why they don't want to talk about it? Because they are not credited. So, in other words, we can do what nobody else can. And we're not really being restricted by regulations and laws that protect the innocent or any of that because we're not even accredited. I'm just asking. Barcuse says, did they ever follow up on the latex glove found on the premises? I wonder if they found any DNA on that, or they dismissed it because they had a knife sheath. Good question. Ginger Fern, welcome to 1111 True Crime, says, why didn't the police just bring him in for questioning and request a buccal swab at that time? Why get the DNA from the trash? Why the IgG stuff anyway? I'm quite confused in their motives. Me too, Jennifer Fern. Good point. Excellent point. Janice Chambers says his trial is going to be a real nail biter. True. True. we have a lot to talk about when it comes to this kind of stuff going forward. This, to me, shows that, first of all, the description that my butt is talking about of these wounds does not fit what I picture as a K-bar knife. I don't know about you, but I can't. If it's a large knife that is leaving gouges, let me explain something. I have had to cut up literally over 50 deer carcasses because my husbands, in the past, I say husbands, I had two, were both hunters. And we had to dismember the deer. And you use a K-bar knife or a fillet knife on fish. But I always used a K-bar knife on the deer. I know what it's like to literally stab through the meat on a deer that's been skinned, right? So you're going right in. There are no gouges. In fact, the knife kind of gets stuck, and you might have to press against the item you've stabbed and pull that knife back out because of the suction. And you don't go in very far because it's a tight fit. But let me tell you something. Rips and gouges, that reminds me of that, what is it called? K-bar kurka, right? It just blows my mind. Oh my gosh. Sarah Baggins says, I'm still here, but listening and holding my new grandson. What a beautiful gift. Congratulations, Sarah Baggins. New life, right? Charlotte Gross, hello, my love. How are you? You say FBI told not to use IgG, and they used it anyway. Excellent point. We have such smart people as a Lemon Lemon Tarot, Lemon Lemon True Crime. You guys amaze me. Art of Deception, True Crime, hello to you, love. Welcome to the channel. Missing some DNA. Susan Rusco was saying, leave some DNA on the button, the like button for Mama D. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate all of you that support this channel. Whether you hit the like button, you subscribe, you're a member, maybe you gift away memberships, whatever you do. Whether maybe you replay. I just greatly appreciate all of you. I'm thankful every day for you. For you. I got to get my jacket off. I'm a little bit warm. All right, my lovelies. With this, I think we've done pretty good here. I'd like to hear from you before we go a little bit more on what your thinking is when it comes to that K-bar knife. Are we looking for just a standard old knife? Does that sheath even fit the actual murder weapon? How do we know if it does or doesn't? Face it. Somebody brought up, they were like surprised and not quite up to speed. I think they missed our video where we discuss. So I want to do like a, what do you call it? A briefing, a recap. I want to talk about the fact that we have first responders in this case that were also involved in the sticker gate case. So the first two people on the scene in the Idaho4 murders need to be credible. But they're in the sticker gate case where they're directly named as individuals that allegedly questioned a minor without legal representation and no Miranda rights read, as well as denied the parent access to the child. Then, on top of that, when they tried to demand a jury trial, right, against these folks, these people that ended up being the first responders, there was evidence listed and talked about everybody saying, okay, there's video from the dash cam, there's video because these guys are wearing their cameras. But these guys kept saying, no, there is no video. It doesn't exist. These are the first two responders in the Idaho case are saying, nope, it doesn't exist. Lo and behold, it did exist. And when it finally was handed over, it absolutely has no audio accompanying it. It's muted. So all the words being shared and everything said, alone with these adult police officers, alone with this child that has no representation, you don't get to hear a word. That is shady as shit. And so when I hear Ann Taylor up there on this last filing that was on Judge's YouTube thing, and I hear it come out of her mouth, that she has hours of video footage that has been disconnected or does not have audio, and she has audio that they've got to try to match to the video. You and I both had the same question. What in the actual hell did they chop and detach the audio for? What would be their motive? That's what I have to say. Ginger Fern says, I personally do not have much faith in my butt's expertise. Just saying, I don't understand how she can even comment on the actual cause of death. She is not a medical examiner, and she did not do the autopsy. Oh, that's true. You nailed that. Art of Deduction True Crime says, I am the one that did the first interview with Ian Harsh, but hey, no biggie. Oh, I'm sorry, lovely. I did not know that that was the name of your channel. I would love to say hello and welcome you to our channel. We're just a little tiny channel over here doing our thing, and we welcome all new faces. We're very friendly here. You can come on my channel and you can express yourself and not feel judged. Even if you have, like me, I've had some whacked out ideas where, as someone else said, they could have parachuted in onto the balcony. I don't make fun of other creators. I support other creators because I believe it takes all of us to do the work. I believe it takes all the listeners to do the work. And I believe we all have the common goal of getting true justice. So I don't fret about what other people say. And I appreciate those that are more open-minded, right? Art of Deduction True Crime says his Miranda is read when a person in custody. Oh, the Miranda is read when a person is in custody, and the officer is what's referred to as interrogating, is questioning an individual about the crime or criminal activity. Exactly, and thank you. Mama, question on the lab list, see above. Janice has a question. Okay, I'm going. Janice, congrats. Mama D, see my question. I'm going back. I guess you guys are going to have to, like, literally get the question done so I can see it, like redo it so I'm not scrolling. That helps a lot. Are any of the facilities in the list have the same address as O? That's a good question. Now, the link is down in the description of my video. That's what I'm starting to do so that when we have questions, because I closed it and I don't have access to it now. But that is a great question. Because what if it is accredited under a different name as doing business as? Excellent point, Janice. Thank you. Absolutely. We do learn from each other's opinions. But I learned so much from you guys. I wouldn't have known what to talk about today. I would have had some different topic. But when you guys did the podcast yesterday, you had me thinking about all the stuff about the button and the degradation of DNA. And me, I'm like a certified property appraiser. I absolutely never even thought about that. But that the patina would cause a reaction to it, even with the salts and the oils of your fingers, can mess up the whole system on copper, brass, any kind of metal. And so it blew my mind when you guys were bringing that in. And I'm like, you're right. I just got to do some research. So it's an excellent question, Janice. I just forgot to leave up the link on screen. So what I'm going to have you do, you guys, you want the answer, check it out for yourself because all the links are down below. So it's got the Othram link and it has the accredited link. All you got to do is go check Othram's address and then go check that list. And the links are provided for you. And now you're doing your own research. I love you guys. You guys are incredible. If you have a suggestion of what we should work on next for our next podcast, and it's really good, I'll be back tomorrow. But if I need some time to let some, I don't know, maturity come into this conversation we're having and see where we go. It might be Monday. So stay tuned. Make sure and check out our community tab, because if I am going live, you'll hear it on YouTube. You will hear it on Twitter, my Facebook, and our community tab. I love you guys so incredibly much. I truly do. Let's get that done. We'll go back to this. And you are greatly appreciated. Let me start this for you. I appreciate everything you guys do for us. I truly do. I love you. To the moon and back. Bye for now.